Hey guys, my name is Max. Welcome to my movie channel. Welcome to my kitchen. I've been promising you guys for the longest time how to make my special steak fried rice Chinese style. We're finally doing it, so let's start it right now with the cooking video. Here's what you're gonna need for the video. You're gonna need some steak right here. Now this is this is top round. Okay, for stir fry or fajita. Sorry, I didn't realize I was in here. Here you go. So there you go. You could totally get for cheaper, less if you really wanted to. So you're gonna need this. You're gonna need some Kikkoman soy sauce. Okay, you're gonna need that. You are going to need a bag of frozen vegetables. I use these steamers, the bird's eye steamers, and I use just the mixed vegetables, as you see right there. You just throw this thing in the microwave for, I don't know, X amount of time. Pull it out, and they're already cooked, okay? You're going to need white sugar. This is not cocaine, this is white sugar, okay? You're gonna need some olive oil. Hey, this one's empty. Don't worry, I have another one. But you're going to need some olive oil. I use Goya for everything. It's my favorite. And you're going to need rice. Okay? So that's pretty much everything you need. Now let's get to step one. Okay, so I thought I had more oil. I did not. But luckily my neighbors let me borrow some oil. They filled up my bottle. So we're back in business. Now this is how I make the rice. Okay? Here it is. I put a pretty generous helping of extra virgin. It has to be extra virgin, otherwise it won't work. I'm just joking. But I put a pretty good, I'd say about that much. Here, I'll bring it closer to you so you can see. Not sure if the camera's going to pick it up very well, but just enough to really coat the pot. Then I just swirl it around, do that number, put it here, and then next goes the rice. Now usually you would want to measure out the rice, but I've become so good at cooking with the rice, I don't even bother measuring it anymore. I know pretty much how much it's going to take, and that is quite a bit of rice, but actually I might need a little more rice because I'm making for a couple days. Yeah, that's a very good amount of rice. Alright guys, so I added the water. You don't need a whole bunch because the more that you put in there, the longer it's going to take to cook the rice. So I put it to this level right here. As you can see, it's about a 1/4 inch above the level of the rice, and that's really all you're going to need. Then go ahead and throw the top on the thing, and then we're going to shoot on the stove. I'm going to put it on number 7 out of 10. I usually would cook it at 6, or sorry, just adjusting the camera. I would usually cook it at around 6, but to be quite honest with you, I'm very hungry, so I wanted to go a little bit more quick. Alright guys, so while the rice is cooking right over here, we're going to go over here, we're going to start to make the steak. So I'm going to put this this burner on number 8 out of 10. You're going to add some oil to the pan and swirl it around so that it evenly coats the bottom of the pan. And then you're going to add your beef. Alright guys, so I got my beef in there. I put a lid on top of it so that it will cook faster. Again, it's on number 8. I usually cook it on 7, but I wanted to go a little bit quicker. I will say that usually you would want to season your beef. However, don't put any seasoning on it, not even salt, not even pepper, because we're going to have seasoning a little bit later on. That's how it comes in. Alright guys, we're going to check this rice. Just pull this guy off. It's going to be dripping all over the place, whatever. Shoot, I don't know where to put this. Let's put this right here for the time being. Careful, it is hot. What we're going to do is we're going to grab a fork. I have a plastic fork here. And we're gonna just peek. Now you see how there's still water in there? So the rice is not done. You're gonna wanna stab it all the way down and pull. There's still water bubbling under there, so the rice is still cooking. Now when there is no water left, that'll be when it is done. So let's take a look at the steak. Looks pretty good, but it still has a while to go. So we're just gonna let it do its thing. Alright guys, it's been about 5 minutes. If we take a look at this beef right here, it seems to be all the same exact color. Let me see if I can demonstrate that. Excuse the background noise. I'm listening to some music, and I'm actually listening to some YouTube videos while I'm cooking. So yeah, it seems to be no more red. So the best way to test to see if this meat is done is to pick the largest piece you can find. I'm thinking this piece right here. Cut into it and see what it looks like. So I'm going to do that right now. Now as you can see, when we cut into it, it is fully cooked through. At least this piece is. And I believe that this was the largest piece. So we're getting there. I'm going to leave the meat on for another 2 minutes. Now if I'm cooking just steak, I like it to be pink. A little bit pink on the inside. But since we're doing, you know, fried rice, I prefer it to be fully cooked through. So I don't know if you guys, I'm not sure if you guys can notice, but the rice was at a lower level. Now it's increased in size. So that's another sign that it's cooking. Now what we're going to do is we're going to push all the way down, pull backwards. Yeah, it's getting tough. Alright, you see inside this hole right, hold on 1 second. There's barely any water, so we're going to do that in a couple places. Yeah. And sorry it's fogging up the camera, but this rice is totally done. So I'm going to turn off the heat right now. Turn it off. I'm going to move this pot somewhere else so that the rice does not burn. Alright guys, so here's our bag of frozen vegetables. Right here it says, whoops, to heat up for 5 minutes. And it also says that this side is supposed to be up. So that's what we're going to do. Alright guys, so it was actually overflowing and I was spilling quite a bit. So what I did was I took some of them out, some of the rice and steak and vegetables out, put them into separate bowls, and I'm going to work with this much to start with. Right around here is when we're going to add the soy sauce. For the soy sauce, you're going to want to pour into the middle and all around the edges. Start off with a pretty decent helping and then just stir it all up, okay? And the most important part in this process is the vigorous stirring, because you're going to want pretty much every single grain of rice to be darker than it was before. So we're going to need to add more, just add more. And yes, it looks like quite a bit, but that's just to remind you guys, this is probably about 10 servings if you add the amount that I took out as well. So then you're just going to keep stirring it up like so. Again, if you see any white rice, try to get it incorporated into the soy sauce. I'm going to add a little more soy sauce in here. That should be good for this amount. Again, now you're going to be able to stir it up a little bit better. Once you're stirring and you don't see any more white rice, now it's time to add the sugar. So let me go grab that. Now a lot of this recipe is just trial and error. So in terms of how much sugar to add, just add whatever feels right, and you're going to have to taste test it along the way. So we'll start off with that much, and then stir it up. Now you're going to want to be really methodical in stirring it up at this point when the sugar is added. Now I will remind you of one thing. If you add too much sugar, you could always fix that. Don't worry about it. by adding a little bit more soy sauce because the salt will counteract the sweetness in the sugar. So it's looking pretty good right now. Let's go ahead and do a taste test and see if we need any more sugar or any extra soy sauce. Alright guys, let's grab a pretty decent helping. Oops. That tastes about right, although a little too sweet. So what I'm going to do is add a little bit more soy sauce. Alright guys, so I added more soy sauce. I just gave it a taste test. It's tasting perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this portion into the salad bowl, and I'm going to finish the rest. Alright guys, now we're finishing up the rest of the portion. So go ahead and add the white rice that would not fit in the pan earlier. And we're just going to repeat the same exact process. First, we're going to start with the soy sauce. Listen to that sizzle, sounds real good. And stir, again, stir until there are no longer grains of white rice, okay? Just like before, we're going to add the sugar to this portion. It's not as large, so I'm thinking 1 and maybe 3/4 of a tablespoon. Should do the trick. Let's go ahead and stir it up vigorously and see what we could do. Once you stop hearing the sizzle from the pan, that's pretty much a great indication that everything is pretty well stirred up. At least in my experience, I found that to be the case. So once you stop hearing the sizzle, just keep going and stirring up for a little bit longer. Now we're going to taste test one more time. Alright guys, at this point, I turned off the heat to the stovetop and try it one last time. That tastes just about right. So it's not too sweet, it's not too salty, but it is very good, and it tastes very similar to what you would get at a restaurant for a much lower price and a much higher portion. This is how much soy sauce we used. It looked like a lot, but it's actually not too much. When we bought it, it was up to here. Now it's down to here. Check out how many portions we got. Alright guys, so as you can see, this is how much rice we have at the end of the day. An enormous amount of rice. This is probably 10 servings, 12 servings of rice. And we did it all for approximately $10. So it's definitely a really good alternative to buying the Chinese food if you have the time to make it. Plus you can pretty much customize it if you like it sweeter or not so sweet. That's pretty much it guys. So all that's left is to eat. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this episode of Cooking with Max. This is one bowl. As you can see, we still have a ton more. I'm actually going to give these two to my neighbors because they did give me olive oil when I thought I had some and I had none. So here's two pretty significantly large portions, and I would say we have about, I would say about 7 more portions in this huge salad bowl. And guys, just to show you that good deeds go a very long way, God bless my neighbors. I was out of virgin olive oil. They gave me a whole entire bottle of one. I made them some rice in exchange for that, and they sent me back home with a whole entire plate of rice, red kidney beans, and chopped pork. So good. But hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful dinner. I'll see you next time.